Somebody would have to come down in a freaking boat to save us. Hey guys, so I'm back today to talk about our experience with Hurricane Irma. I haven't done enough videos yet to where people really know me or where we live or anything like that, but we do live in Southwest Florida, Cape Coral. The last 2 weeks have just been crazy, in a whirlwind and stressful and crazy. So I just kind of wanted to talk about it. So yeah, so we live in Cape Coral. Hurricane Irma was headed straight our way. It was Labor Day, last Monday. My oldest daughter and I were at Walmart, and I was just getting like regular stuff. We were gonna have a pool party that day at our house, just us, and I was just gonna get like hot dogs and sodas and stuff like that. So as I was shopping around, and I got over to the grocery side, and I went down the water aisle, I noticed that there was so many people, all the water was gone, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Now, I had heard about a hurricane out there, but I mean, I've lived in Florida for over 25 years, so a hurricane way out there in the ocean, I don't panic right away because it happens. So I wasn't freaking out or anything. But then when I was in Walmart and I saw that the water was completely gone, you could just feel it in the air, like panic mode, and everybody's carts were full of water and everything. So when I get over there to check out with my stuff, the guy in front of me, he has a cart full of life jackets and rain boots and water, and I've got like hot dogs and decorations for my guest room. I'm like, wait a second, something is not right here. So I text my husband and I'm like, is there something that everybody else knows that I don't? That's when I really started to think that this is a little more serious than I originally thought. Tuesday I went into work, I wait tables at night, and everybody was talking about it and staying pretty positive. They were at that time like heading more on the west coast of Florida, so we were nervous, but it was really far away. It was going to go through the Dominican Republic, all the little islands there, possibly come up through Cuba and then the Florida Keys and come up our way. So it had a lot of land to go through and we had a lot of time. They were saying that at that time it was a category 4 and then a 5, the worst that you could get. But it was still about a week away. It wasn't going to hit us until Saturday or Sunday, so we had a lot of time. And I'm thinking by that time, it's going to go down. It's got to go through all this land first. It's going to slow down. It's going to weaken, all these things. So I wasn't really nervous. But I'm just not like that anyway. I'm usually a pretty calm person. I don't freak out. I'm always the one that's like, oh, we're going to be fine. You know, it's not going to hit us. What? But when you were out, like everybody was in panic mode for sure. Gas stations were running out of gas, places were running out of water, stores were just packed full of people getting their hurricane supplies. So as of Tuesday and Wednesday, it started to turn a little more east. They were projecting it to go more east than west. However, it was such a huge hurricane that no matter where it went, wherever it directly hit, it was still going to impact the entire state of Florida. It covered the entire state from coast to coast. So no matter what, you had to prepare. So we did, and we got hurricane supplies, we filled up our gas tanks, all of that. So I remember when I went into work on Thursday, when I started talking to my tables, people I was waiting on, they were saying, well, have you watched the news recently? And I said, well, I watched it pretty much before I came into work. And they said, well, it's changed. The path has changed. It's going back west again. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Are you serious? And my eyes are kind of red and glossy because it happens every time I put makeup on. So that's just the way I look. I'm not high. It's just makeup. It's a makeup high. Anyway, totally off topic there. Yeah, so people were telling me that the path was now headed more west. And I'm like, oh, great. Okay. At that point, that was Thursday. I was still not freaking out. We're staying. A lot of people had left. I actually had a couple of friends who had already left the state of Florida, got out. I understand. I wasn't judging anybody on their decision. I mean, everybody has their own thoughts and feelings and different experiences that they've gone through. A lot of people were here for Charlie, which was a horrific hurricane that hit Cape Coral, but it really got Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda, Charlotte County, which is above us. It was awful. So it was really scary for a lot of people. Nobody wanted to go through that again, and I totally understood that. So people had to make decisions on what worked best for them. You want to go, you want to get out of the state, more power to you. Friday morning, I remember I got up, I took the girls to Target. We got the last few things that we needed. I topped off my gas tank, and the hurricane was due to hit us on Sunday, and that was Friday. As Friday night went on, and my husband and I are watching the news, we got more and more nervous. He started putting up the hurricane shutters, and you got to remember, like, as calm as you try to stay, which is what I was doing and I think my husband was doing, they make it really difficult because you can't help but watch the news. I mean, this is 24/7 coverage. Every news channel, the Weather Channel, you can't get away from it. And as soon as you start doing something else and you stop thinking about it, boom, it hits you again as soon as you walk by the TV or somebody's talking about it, or you go out and it's just like crazy. The lines and shelves are empty at the store. It's almost like you feel like you're in a war zone. So watching the news, and you've got the governor on there and he's telling you, get out. You need to get out of your home. You will not make it. The storm is deadly. You will not make it. And then the whole issue with storm surge and everything, which I didn't fully understand until Shane explained it to me. They're talking, 6, 9, 12 feet of water, and can't make it through that. What are we going to do? Now, as far as the water goes, that wasn't my biggest concern because our house is elevated so much. Our house was built in the last 12 years, so it was built to hurricane codes and all of that. I wasn't worried about water coming into our house, but the more and more they talked about storm surge, I'm like, geez, maybe this is something to worry about. What the heck do I know about it? Absolutely nothing. So I just started to get really nervous, and I could see that Shane was getting nervous too. And the thing is, that's different about this. See, when I was here for Charlie, I lived in Fort Myers at the time with my sister. I was 24 years old. I was single. I didn't have any kids. It was a hurricane party. It was, we were just young and didn't know any better and just looked at it as, a day off of work and, another reason to drink and get drunk. I mean, that's just being honest. Fast forward, all these years, and now we're married with 2 little kids, and it's a lot to think about. I kept having these visions of us being in our home that's shuttered up and dark. The power's going to go out. We're going to be huddled up in our bathroom, which is the safest place in our home. There's no windows. Once the power goes out, it's quiet and it's hot. And if it's how they say it's going to be, there's going to be debris and all these things flying around outside, hitting our home. You're going to hear all those sounds. It's going to be scary. And as fun as I was going to try to make it for the kids, I was thinking about like when it was actually hitting, and you can't hide that fear. And we have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, and they're going to be crying and scared and terrified. And I just kept having these thoughts in my head, like of what they were going to have to go through and how awful it was going to be for them if it was as bad as they were saying it was going to be. And I understood the news had to give us the worst possible scenario to prepare everybody. But what if the worst possible scenario happened? I had to consider all those things. If it was just Shane and I, we both said we would just ride it out, no problem. We just stay here in our home. But when you have kids, like, it just changes everything. As of Friday night, I looked at him and I said, I just want you to know, I trust your decision for us to stay. Shane's in construction. He knows, he builds homes. He knows all about this stuff. He knows if our home can withstand a Hurricane 5 hurricane or not. But at that point, I was getting so nervous, and I just looked at him and I said, I want you to know that if it was up to me, I would consider leaving at this point. And he thought about it for a second and he said, we need to go. And I knew that it was serious, because Shane's just not like that. I mean, if he's saying we need to go, we need to go. So at that point, it was just like, It was pandemonium in our house. I felt like it was just crazy. It was packing. We didn't have packed anything. We were preparing to stay. I got to pack up the kids. I got to pack us up where we go. We don't even have a place to go. We're going to hop in our car. We have 2 chihuahuas. I got to get, packed there. I got to get the house. We had dinner dishes that we hadn't even cleaned up yet. Shane hadn't even finished putting the shutters on. We got to get everything from the outside brought inside because you don't want all your stuff flying around and hitting other people's home stuff, all blah, 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 blah. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. All this, and we don't even have a place to go. That was the struggle. It's trying to decide if you stay in the safe haven of your home and ride it out and hope for the best, or you leave and you get on 75. At this point, it was already Friday night. They were saying, so many people had already left early in the week. So, but there were still a lot of people who were going to leave and who were on 75, and you were hearing all these stories that 75 is bumper to bumper. There's no gas. All the gas stations are without gas. So what do? We had 1 full gas tank that was only going to get us so far. And you have to remember, in the state of Florida, there's only one way out, and that's north. So everybody's going the same way. I mean, there's other little back roads and stuff that you could take, but if you've got the whole state trying to evacuate, it's going to be bad. So you're thinking the worst in your head. It's like, if we leave and we're stuck on the highway, and so anyway, so Friday night, once we decided to leave, I called my sister, and my sister lives in Michigan. That's where my mom and my sister are. I asked her if she could just get online and start looking up hotels, anything northern Florida, Georgia. That was really as far as we wanted to go. So she started doing that for me. I continued to pack. She called me back and she's like, Candy, I can't find anything. There is nothing available. So I started looking myself. I couldn't find anything in Florida at all. Not one hotel room in the state of Florida. Think about that. I did find a couple in Georgia, but they couldn't get us in until the following day at like 3 o'clock. Yeah. Shane's mom came over because she was going to go with us. Either she was going to stay here with us because she's by herself, or she was going to evacuate with us. And at that point, it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, we need to calm down. Let's talk about this. Let's not make any irrational decisions. Let's be smart and think about this. So we did. We decided to just stay Friday night, get a good night's sleep here in our own beds, and make a decision Saturday morning. Saturday morning comes, and we get up, we're talking about it, we're making breakfast, things like that. We're still going back and forth. Should we stay? Should we go? It's just like your brain is literally just all jumbled up. And then we got a mandatory evacuation. Evacuations are based on storm surge, and how much storm surge, how many feet of water you're going to get in your area, because once storm surge hits, there's nobody to come help you. You can't call 911 and they're going to come out and rescue you. There's too much water. Somebody would have to come down in a freaking boat to save us. We'd be on the roof of our house if we get 12 feet of water. Hi. Oh, I got lipstick on. I like to be pretty when I do the video. I like to be ugly looking at myself in the camera. Say hi, I'm Moody Charlotte. I'm Moody. And now I'm totally lost. So, and once we got the mandatory evacuation, it doesn't mean that you absolutely have to leave. Like, they're gonna come out and arrest you if you don't leave. You can choose to stay, but they're just letting you know, once again, if you don't leave and this happens, there's nobody coming to help you. I think that's the way. I think I'm explaining it the right way. I try to really listen and pay attention, and I usually don't. I'm usually off in my own little world. So we decided to leave. Again, packed up in total frantic mode. I just felt crazed. We get everything loaded up in the car. Car is running, pulled out of the driveway. Kids are strapped in their car seats. Dogs are in the car. Shane's just finishing up the last few things. I'm like shaking because I don't know if we're making the right decision. It's Saturday. The storm is due to hit the very next day. I don't know if getting on the road is the right thing. We did have Shane's uncle who lives in Alabama. Shane's from Alabama. And he lives in Birmingham, and he welcomed us. But Shane didn't, at that point, he didn't really want to go as far as Birmingham. I think that if it came down to it, we would have gone. So we go to get in the car, and here comes our neighbor right next to us, a man who we've never spoken to once in the year that we've lived here. He comes over, and he's like, "Are you guys getting ready to leave?" "Yeah, the car's running. We're out. We're out of this mofo." "See ya. Deuces." We out. He's like, "Don't do it. Don't go. If you get on the road, you will get caught in it. Don't go." He's like looking at us. It almost looked like he had almost was tearing up a little bit. Like, he meant business. He was serious. He was scared for us. This man that we don't even know. That was the vibe that I got. Like, he was scared for us. He said, if you're gonna leave, go to a shelter. And we were dead set. We were not going to a shelter. We would much rather stay in our own home than be in a shelter. Oh, I'm looking at Shane, and Shane's looking at me, and I'm looking at my mother-in-law, and we're just like, oh my God, is this guy serious right now? Like, are you kidding me? Are you really doing this to me right now? I finally made a decision, and not really, because it still wasn't totally set. I don't know. The car was running, and we were going, and here is this man, like, telling us, don't go. You will get caught in the storm. It's too late for you to leave. I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. First of all, I'm thinking the storm isn't even due to hit until, not even due to hit Miami, the bottom of Florida, until 2 o'clock in the morning. At this point, it was like 11 o'clock Saturday morning. It's not even raining. It wasn't even raining. It was starting to get windy. He left. We looked at each other. We're still going. I was literally shaking. It was crazy. I didn't know what was going on with me because I was holding my phone and my hand was shaking. I'm like, what the heck is going on with my hand? We get in the car and I'm texting my friends, and everybody who said they were staying were actually going, except for one friend was staying, which totally understood her decision to stay. So I had a friend who texted who said that her family had actually, Charlotte, got her a hotel room in Kissimmee, which is right by Orlando. So I'm texting her, I'm like, I need that phone number. I got to call right now, so see if I can get us a room. She gave me the number. I called. They were able to get us in. I'm like, what? I don't know how, because I looked everywhere online. There wasn't anything. That calmed me down, and the full glass of wine that I chugged before we left. That helped calm my nerves too. Hey man, I had to do what I had to do, okay? This was scary. The drive there wasn't bad. We didn't take 75. We took 17 all the way up. Wasn't bad. We didn't get stuck in any traffic. We never had to stop for gas. And we made it to Kissimmee. And my only fear was that we didn't go far enough of what they were saying and how big this storm was and how strong it was, that Orlando was still going to get it too. I was just thinking that anywhere has got to be better than Southwest Florida at this point. So okay, so it was Sunday night around 7 o'clock. The storm is hitting Cape Coral. I'm texting friends and stuff, and they're saying it's okay. It's windy, it's rainy. Most of them hadn't even lost power by that point. We lost power. We lost power in our hotel at 7 o'clock. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right now? We're losing power. I'm talking to people in Cape Coral that haven't even lost power yet. We didn't even get it back until I don't even know when, because we got up the next morning and left. I didn't get any sleep. It was awful. It was windy. It was rainy. It was hot. You could hear, you know, just the wind. You could hear it against the windows and everything. So we got up the next morning. We headed home. It took us 4 hours. We were rerouted multiple times because of flooding in the area and trees down and things like that. They didn't even really want you leaving. They wanted you staying put. They didn't want people out on the roads. The storm overall, I don't think was definitely not as bad as what they had made it seem or what they thought it was going to be. We had no flooding on our street. We had no damage to our home. With people that I knew, the worst thing was just fence panels being knocked down, and no power. Our power came back on Tuesday morning, and we were actually able to stay at my mom's place, which the power never went out there. So we were able to stay there Monday night and be in air conditioning and get showers and stuff. And then we just came back to our house Tuesday morning and power was back on. So then I was able to get everything back to normal. Some people got it really bad, and my heart goes out to them. I'm very grateful that we made it. Our kids are fine. We had a home to come back to. That is important. You know, that being said, there was still a part of me that was a little bit angry because I felt like the news and everybody had worked it up so much and scared us. They really scare the living daylights out of you with the things that they say. That's just how I am. I can't help it. You know, some people just react differently to it. And I did have a little bit of anger because we uprooted our family. It scared us. The money that's being spent, the, you know, unnecessary costs when we could have just stayed here. All those things I think about that go through my head. I get it. Those are tiny little things in comparison to your life, but that's just, you know, everybody looks at it differently. I do think about those things. So I was mad at first, but I'm good now. I'm good. I'm glad it wasn't as bad as they said it was going to be. They have to give you the worst case scenario, and they did, and we're alive and we made it. So I'm just happy for that. So this video is really, really super long. I'm going to wrap it up. That was our Hurricane Irma experience. I'm just grateful that we're okay. So I'll talk to you guys for my next video. Bye.